Sometimes it's better to be single than be disappointed.
He doesn't plan the date. He doesn't initiate.
My relationship ended because he hated my body.
I dated a guy for 6 months who never took me on a date.
In the modern day, 50% of singles are finding it harder to find a committed relationship. So if you're struggling to find a partner that meets your bare minimum requirements, you're not alone. Are we asking for too much? Is consistent communication too much? Is asking for loyalty too much? I am a big believer that it's way better to stay single than be disappointed. Is this too much, or are we just looking in the wrong places? Let's unpack what it truly means to have high standards and find out if this is getting in the way of us finding love in 2025. Hey, if you're new, welcome to the cozy corner of the internet. I'm your host, Christina, and I help people stop shrinking and start living. This is going to be a deep dive, introspective, chatty video all on high standards. I am a very big believer of it's much better to stay single, love your own company, enjoy your own time, spend time with friends than to be disappointed. I hate the idea of having to explain to someone why I deserve better. But I've come across some very interesting podcasts and statistics recently that prove otherwise. And maybe there is an argument for lowering your standards. Even just saying that is like, I can't even believe that's an argument. If you've been anywhere on the internet for the last few years, you would have seen every single guy with a podcast try and tell women to lower their standards.
But we have to lower our expectation of our partners.
Modern day women just don't qualify for the top tier men, and that is the truth.
Women are the ones who file divorce 80% of the time. They don't take into consideration the children and how that's going to affect them. They placing their happiness over the well-being of the family structure.
But what I'm finding is a lot of these conversations are so black and white and so hypothetical that they almost only address a certain type of woman. Keep on watching if you are a woman who chooses to be single by choice. Keep watching if you're someone who maybe is in a relationship and is just curious what I have to say and what I found out on high standards, high expectations. Let's first unpack. Are we asking for too much? Is open communication too much? Is small gestures and random acts of appreciation too much? A book I'm currently reading called Keep Love is by another dating expert. He's actually a matchmaker of like many years, I think, if not decades. He's called Paul Brunson. He's, of all the dating experts and dating people out there, he's one of the ones I highly respect just because he has an amazing relationship with his wife called Jill. They have 2 kids together, 2 boys. So in one of his podcasts that he did recently, when he spoke about women or people should just lower their expectations, I was definitely taken aback. So here's his argument for lowering your expectations.
A lot of people won't like this, but we have to lower our expectation of our partners. We really do. And what I mean by this is, first, we have to begin with determining what do we want out of our partnership. Because if we go back, and we don't have to go back thousands of years, we can literally go back to my grandparents. The decisions were not, am I going to get all 10 things from my partner? It is 3 of the 10 things. And I'll be satisfied with the 3 of the 10 things. Why? Because I have a full community that I can go to, of friends, co-workers, colleagues, people who, in my running club that I can go to for other facets of my life.
This argument for lowering your expectations, I actually think is completely valid. We don't always think of it in that way, like we're looking for a running club friend and a gym friend and a financier and a life coach and a therapist and a best friend and a partner all in one person. And maybe that's where the hopeless romantic fantasy sometimes comes in, where you do daydream about all the things you want in a partner and you can literally turn to them for anything. There was some research that I found by these 2 psychologists called the Gottmans. If you're in the podcast world, you've probably seen them on a bunch of podcasts. They are 2 people, John and Julie, who've been married for 35 years. And the Gottmans always talk about in their research that we're all compatible with each other. Like when you are forced to be with someone, you can form an emotional bond and it will almost form naturally. So many of the videos I see of girls crying about what their boyfriend's done or the breakup that they're about to have, like all these different tough moments in a relationship, I feel like so many of them bottle down to just women don't feel appreciated by their partner. Maybe it's just me, maybe you guys think differently, but a consistent theme I see where some girl is crying while doing her makeup on a Get Ready With Me on TikTok. Do you know, all these things that their partner isn't doing, they're unhappy. It's just a core thing of women don't feel appreciated by their partner. The bare minimum will start to seem like high standards when a lot of the men you see or relationships you see easy, able to get away with not doing a lot. One woman who speaks a lot about this in her content, I wouldn't call her a dating expert, she's more just like a dating content creator. She's called Margarita Nazarenko. I'm sure you've come across her before. And one of her core messages which she shares is basically the number one quality you need to look for in a guy. It does not matter like how much money he makes, how tall he is, how good looking he is, whether or not he meets your standards. The number one quality you need to look for is that he is sure about you. If you're having to think about if he likes you, if you're having to guess what his message means, if you're having to type up like paragraphs in your notes and think, does he like me? Does he not? Does he understand that this is important to me? If he's not sure about you, he won't appreciate you. And this seems to be a core underlying theme of women that are unhappy in relationships. Because I know a lot of people see like marriage as the prize, like, oh, we've been together for 7 years, still no ring, or like, I would never stay with a guy for 4 years unless we were engaged by that point. Marriage seems to be a really big milestone to reach in order to feel like your relationship wasn't a waste of time, like, oh, you wasted 6 years on that guy, you never got married. Whereas you can literally get married and he still wouldn't appreciate you. The ring and the paper and the legal paperwork, like what does it actually mean if he still doesn't appreciate you? It is my mission to make people like you watching feel seen and heard and less alone. So if that resonates and if that sounds good, please click the subscribe button and join our Discord and Facebook group in the description box below. It's been my mission to connect some of you guys who feel the same, had similar experiences and are all going through the same things. So if that sounds good, please join us in the community below. When it comes to preferences versus standards, there's a lot of conversation online as to whether or not physical attraction to a partner actually gets in the way of you finding the right partner. This clip of a Pop the Balloon episode where a single guy comes in and 5 women kind of pop their balloon to say whether or not they like the guy and they want to get to know him, or they pop the balloon and say, I don't want to get to know you, like I'm okay.
My name is Sohair and I'm 38. So I popped, just initial attraction wasn't there. You're just not my type. So that was it.
What makes him not your type?
Just not my type. Like the height.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 feet.
6 feet, okay. And you said
I'm 5'9".
5'9", okay.
My name is Justine. I am 51 years old, and I just didn't feel a vibe with him. I didn't feel a attraction or anything.
I'm Lene, and I'm 40. Just initial attraction.
Is she someone that's your type?
I don't think so. No, she's not.
And why not?
I just don't find her attractive.
This clip kind of highlights how sometimes our preferences can get in the way of us finding someone who does meet our standards. What I find interesting with this clip is quite a few of these women are older. So it's interesting for me because I thought, oh, it's just girlies in our 20s. It's just the Gen Z, just the millennials. You know, we're a bit picky sometimes. We want the cute guy. Like, I just thought it was like a youthful thing. I didn't realize women in their 40s, 50s are still being like, no, you're not my type.
I am 51 years old, and I just didn't feel a vibe with him.
And one of my favorite experts on this topic, I've mentioned her a lot in my videos before. She's called Logan Yuri. She wrote a book called How to Not Die Alone, which is honestly one of the best books you can read on relationships. I highly recommend it. She speaks about the fact that your type and chasing after your type can be one of the biggest things holding you back in dating. In the book, she goes in depth about like what her type was and what she was looking for in a relationship. And then she talks about the guy that she ended up being with, the guy that literally treats her like a princess, treats her so well. They get along so well. The bond they have is beyond what she expected. And he is not her type. He's like a hipster, like mustache, big beard, vegan. And like, this is not at all what she would have written down as the man of her dreams and her husband. And maybe it's a fluke, I don't know. I see a lot of TikToks on just how important it is to go out and date outside your type because you'd never know who you could meet and how well you could be treated. Again, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Please comment down below if you have any positive experience or negative experience dating outside your type. If we're going to talk about standards, we do have to be really honest with ourselves because your real standards aren't what you say, but they're what you do. And I feel like for a lot of women out there who are single by choice, who have their high standards in their mind, haven't met it yet, haven't come across it, they're willing to stay single, that is a true reflection of a high standard.
The reason you can't get a boyfriend is because you keep picking men who don't want to be a boyfriend. I know it sounds simple, but it's not. People think that a guy will become your boyfriend if they really like you, but that's not entirely true. A guy can really like you, but if he's not in that stage where he wants to be in a relationship, then he he won't become your boyfriend. And this is why so many people are stuck in like situationships, because the guy likes you enough to spend time with you, but he doesn't want to be a boyfriend, so he's okay to like play around with you a bit and keep you in this in-between limbo stage.
This is so true. This is why you'll see so many girls, or maybe you even have a friend where they're an amazing person, have so much going for them. I literally am even confused why their partner isn't acting right, but they'll talk about so many things that their partner has forgotten, like their birthday. And it's all because their partner just isn't serious about them. In the eyes of their partner, you know, they're really nice and they're really cool to hang out with. She's pretty, she's smart. They're just not sure about you. Like they're just not 100% like ready or even want to be with you. And there's a dating creator that talks about this a lot.
We have tools like we've never had before, more access to therapy. So 20% very satisfied, but 80% more dissatisfied, more upset, more confused than ever before. And I would say that those who are not in relationships,
80% of couples are dissatisfied. To be fair, I can't even act like that is surprising. Have you ever met a couple or met someone in a relationship and you literally have to question like, why are you in this relationship? All I ever hear is negative things. All I ever hear is complaints. He did this, he forgot that. Or she did this, she forgot that. Sometimes I really ask myself, is being in a relationship the flex that it seems like it is? Because all I ever hear is people complaining about things, or people only ever highlighting the negative things. The flex is not being in a relationship, the flex is being in a healthy relationship. It sounds like 20% of the time, people are choosing each other. The other 80% of the time, it's like oh well, we'll see where this goes. It's very easy to be swayed back and forth, hopeful, hopeless, hopeful, hopeless, with the tide of social media. Do you ever see people complain about their relationship on Reddit or TikTok or social media, and you see what the person has endured, and you have to ask yourself, like, I don't know why you would choose this over being single. Enduring your partner literally showing in their actions over and over again that they're not interested, they don't like you, they're not attracted to you. I don't know in what world where that is a better choice than just being single. No matter what the cost is and the sacrifice is to your mental health and your self-esteem, sometimes when you are insecure, you let so much poor treatment slide. Guys will treat you as an option, and like you will just accept it and not even think twice. You'll be like, how can I be a better option for you? It's only later on in life I've realized high self-esteem is the best protectant you can have to shield yourself from someone who treats you poorly. And sometimes in high self-esteem is reflected as high standard.
My relationship ended because he hated my body. I really wish that this was one of those satirical videos that I usually do, but it's not. He's just like sitting on the couch and he like raises his voice and he goes, "There are just things about your body that I hate." Oh my god. Awesome. Apparently everything else about me was perfect, but he was not attracted to me. I wish I could go back in time and just hug myself, because my first reaction to it, to hearing that he wasn't attracted to me, was I wanted to fix it. I was like, how is there just an issue with like attraction in general in your life? Like what is going on?
This video from this creator is actually heartbreaking. Like, it breaks my heart that there are girls out there going through so much. They're with a partner that doesn't appreciate them, and they sit there and think, am I good enough for them? When the real question is, are they good enough for me? I'm so glad this creator shared this video, because I can see in the comments so many other girls are relating to what she said. When you're young and when you have low self-esteem, you have insecurities, what do you know? You literally don't know better, so you entertain these people. Me and my single friends, we see stuff like this and we're like, it's better to be single. Loneliness, that might be sad. That might be a little bit, you know, sad and depressing, but to put up with this, it's just not worth it. We've not really unpacked the concept of soulmates and meeting the right person in this video, but that is something that I deep dive into in this video, which I'm going to link here.